I'm so proud to stand here tonight to introduce International Medical Corps' founder and chairman, Dr. Robert Simon. An amazing man. As a young emergency room physician at UCLA Medical Center, he was moved to take action after reading the tragic plight of the Afghan people as a result of the 1979 Soviet invasion and subsequent occupation. He traveled into the middle of a war zone and had a vision to multiply the impact of one man many times over by training Afghan medics to take care of their own people. He sold his home in Malibu for seed money, and International Medical Corps was born. Dr. Simon is a professor, I should say he was, he just corrected me. Sorry. In the Department of Emergency Medicine at Rush University, Cook County Hospital in Chicago. He's also former chief of the Cook County Bureau of Health Services. Everybody, I know I don't need to say this, please help me in welcoming the remarkable, the dedicated, the wonderful founder of International Medical Corps, Dr. Robert Simon.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's actually, it's pretty easy to start something, but to build it requires a lot of people in this room. Thank you very, very much. You know, it's funny, everything is how you see it. Everybody keeps talking about selling the house in Malibu, but for me, you know, it was owned by a bank. I was leasing it for 30 years. And my wife will tell you it's the only good investment I ever made was with IMC. So 100,000 gives you 25 million people a year that we're taking care of. That's a pretty good return on your investment. So anyways, there is nothing that I could tell you that you'll remember in 2 days and that will be meaningful. So what I want to spend my 8 minutes on, which is what the bosses gave me. The bosses gave me 8 minutes. I want to spend it acknowledging those people who indirectly and directly brought us to where we are today. And there's 3 people that indirectly. And what I'd like you to do is to stand up and stay standing, the 3 of you. First, my wife, Marilyn Simon. And I want to tell you, I always believe that a story tells you a lot about somebody because it's an emotional moment in how a person acts. Like if a building's on fire, do they go out or do they make sure everybody else is out first? That tells you everything about somebody. When the war in Bosnia was occurring in 92, 93, Marilyn was 9 months pregnant. And what she said to me is she said, I know you have to go and you have to do your assessment survey in that war zone. Wait till the baby's born to be sure it's healthy. So the baby was born, Timothy was born, and within about an hour or 2 after the baby was born, she said, Rutha, do what you have to do. We're with you, and we want you to go. And that tells you everything about my wife. And throughout her life, throughout her 22 years, she has stood by and done that. The second person I want to recognize is Eileen Ossie. Eileen, can you stand up, please? I can say things about Eileen that no one else can say. And Eileen, you don't really ever accept this. Eileen, stand up. I want people to see who you are. I can say things about Eileen that no one else can say, and I want to tell you the 3 things, because she is responsible for the characteristics of Nancy. You know, in all these years that Nancy's been with us, I have never once, there's never been a week that I haven't been able to reach her. That means she's never taken a 2-week vacation. Unreachable. That's remarkable in over 20 years. And you know, Eileen, you don't think that comes from you? Well, let me tell you about Eileen. This lady is 80 years old and gets up at 4:30 in the morning to go to work. Nancy's work ethic comes from you. Second thing that characterizes Nancy. The second thing that characterizes Nancy, integrity. If I had to pick a word for Nancy, it would be work ethic and integrity. In all these years, Nancy has never once manipulated a negative thing that was happened or a positive. She lives integrity while many people speak it. She lives honesty, and that comes from Eileen. And the third thing about Nancy is something that is remarkable. When we were recruiting for a CEO, we had about $1 million, and finally we could hire a CEO, right? So I always believe in watching people when they don't know you're watching them, because then you know the real person. So I bring these people into our accounting department, which was a bedroom in a house that Dick Reardon gave us to use. And the bedroom had shoeboxes, and the receipts were all in Farsi and Dari. So that was our accounting department. Everybody would look at that, and I'd look at their faces, and they'd say, what the hell am I getting into? That's what their faces would say. Nancy, her face said this, God, this guy's crazy, but what a challenge this will be. So it was remarkable. And Eileen, that comes from you. So if there's a legacy for us, a piece of that is you. And the third person I want to acknowledge is my mother. Ma, could you stand up? I want to tell you about my mom. Because my mother... Now, guys, my 8 minutes can't take the applause, right? You guys are going to give me an extra 30 seconds. I'm sorry, I'll go as fast as I can. We were extremely poor. We actually plowed gardens that really were like little farms, and we used to can 800 jars. We were way below the national poverty level in terms of income. But my mother, who could have easily qualified for welfare, all of us could have, she refused any welfare because America allowed her to be in this country, and that was more than she could ever do. Well, one day, we were walking with a little red flyer wagon to get these canned goods, and there was a warehouse 2 miles down that the canned goods had paper labels, and if the paper labels were torn off, you didn't know what was in the can, but you got it for 2 cents. So it was a remarkable deal. So on our way down, I'm a kid walking down, and I'm walking along with the wagon, and I said to her, I said, Ma, why is it that we can't have an ice cream when the Good Humor guy comes by? Why is it that we can't have a new pair of clothes instead of going to the Salvation Army? And she pointed to a junkyard. Now, she's illiterate in any language. And she said, I want you to look at these 2 cars. One car was a Cadillac that was in the junkyard because it had been totaled in a car accident. Really beautiful car. The other car was a junker. And she said, you know, that car got polished, it got shined, it was remarkably taken care of, just like you want the ice cream or the pants. The other car didn't. But you know what? They both end up in the same home. So what matters is not the car, not the shines, not all those things. What matters is the road they traveled, where they went. And I always remembered that and many, many other stories. And so, Ma, a piece of where we are today is you. You're the best teacher I've ever had. To the three of you, I want to tell you that you're both, Ma, you and Eileen are in your 80s. Mariam, you're much younger. But you know what? When you guys look at your life, this is a piece of it. This is a piece of your legacy.